All act like adults here. We're all adults. Don't want to have a bunch of whining. You know, if you want to whine and complain, go away. You know, we don't want to hear it. If you got something that's good to say for the whole community that everybody wants to listen to, that's great. But if you just want to complain, go away. I don't want to hear it.
Sorry, that doesn't.
No, we haven't even started the meeting yet. We have to count to make sure we have a quorum. But Dave has a few things he wants to say. You guys got to remember, we're all volunteers here. Not one of us are getting paid, so all this acting like little children doesn't work. We're all adults here. Need to treat each other with respect, and you'll get respect back.
Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. If you can't, let me know. What I'm going to talk about this morning is starting in January of this year, the board started receiving threats from some of the property owners here, threats of lawsuits. Also, we were threatened that they would go to whatever Arizona board regulates property owners associations and their boards. And this was over their unhappiness with the roads that were being put in. So we kind of kept quiet about it for a while, hoping things would work out. But I'm going to discuss some of that today, read some of the emails and Facebook posts. But before I do that, something came up in the last couple of weeks, another threat. Barbara DeMette, Vice President at Century Management, was threatened. Thomas Schmidt did a in-your-face threat. And then Miss Hall here had a kind of a concealed threat. So I'm going to go over that email chain so you can all hear about it. And I apologize for even having to do this.
First off, I'd like some explanation here. What do you construe as a threat?
Let me read this and you can judge for yourself.
All right.
Okay?
Pretty self-explanatory.
From Karen Hall.
Excuse me, he has the floor.
From Karen Hall, Tuesday, May 18th, to Barbara. Hi, Barbara. I got your voice message yesterday while I was in town. I cannot call from our property because of cell service. I still do not know if you are in receipt of my qualification form. I asked for a reply via email last Wednesday and also left you a voice message last Friday. Have you received it? In regards to your voice message, no one has received an email until yesterday. That includes 2 of our current board members who never received the mailer. We appreciate the correction and hope doesn't happen again, as there have been other times when more than half of our community does not receive the information. We are one of those, and were not included in the first election of the board. Please reply if you get this email and my previous one. Thank you, Karen Hall.
Nice. Okay.
No, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
She should have an ability to respond to her.
When I'm done, you're interrupting me. You'll get a chance when we're all done. Okay, this is May 25th. Once again, not all our property owners have received a mailer. Why isn't this ballot being sent out via email? Again, currently, board members have not gotten the information, and Century expects a mail-in ballot by June 1st. This is an ongoing issue with Century, where property owners are not receiving information demonstrated by you. Where is the breakdown? We did get the mailer, but there was no envelope as listed in the letter. So many mistakes made over the last 3 months. As property owners, we are becoming more and more frustrated with the mistakes. How will this be rectified? Seriously concerned. Karen Hall.
Nothing wrong with that one.
On Tuesday, May 18th. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I got out of order. But anyway, Barbara Dumet replied, "Good morning. You did submit the candidate sheet to the mailing center. I just approved the annual meeting announcement. Once drafted in final form, it will be e-blasted also. Thank you." This is from Barbara Dumet. It's on May 26, Wednesday. "Good morning, Miss Hall. In reply to your below email, I am deeply concerned as well. Century Management sent out the mail to all owners with the address they have provided. Century also e-blasted Century also e-blasted the annual meeting information on May 20th, 2021 to all owners that have provided authority of opting in for e-blasts. In fact, the confirmation report that Century receives on every e-blast indicated that 198 email addresses were delivered in this email. 28 had issues. The 28 that had issues either dropped out of the e-blast option or are logged as deferred. Century cannot control the deferred. They are in the cloud and will be delivered when that owner's provider permits. There were also 7 owners that do not opt in. I have received a few calls and many return ballots. Yes, the envelope was mistakenly left out. That has not deterred any receipt of returned ballots. Per a previous communication with you, I asked specifically if the owners did not receive either the mailer or e-blast to contact me. You also mentioned there are members of the board that did not receive the information. I have not heard from any member of the board on this matter. I have copied them on this communication in hope to spark a reply to me. To answer your question, there is no breakdown with Century. Our firm does the accounting only, and the owners are responsible for providing correct mailing information. Also, Century will not send an email to owners that do not opt in. That is their choice, and we respect that. I hope this addresses your serious concern, and I early await to hear from owners that did not receive the information. Okay, on Thursday, May 27th, Barbara Dumet wrote, she's addressing this to the whole community, so some of you may have seen this. "Mr. Schmidt called me threatening a lawsuit. He claims there are very upset owners in the ranch about how the election is being held. He would not listen to any professional conversation or calm demeanor. I had to end the call by hanging up on him. He was extremely rude, condescending, and threatened a lawsuit. Karen Hall is running for the board and apparently sparking a lot of controversy. I recommend that the board write a letter to the membership and squash this." This is May 27th from Barbara Dumet. "This is very sad. It may be time for the HOA to engage an attorney. The board should protect themselves against wrongdoings, etc. It may also assist in getting an amicable resolution that is realistic. I am very concerned that the expectation of the roads is not reality per the public report that all agreed to live under." I asked Barbara if she could give you the gist of what Thomas said to her before she had to hang up. So this is the gist of it. "Mr. Thomas called and immediately started yelling. First comments was made that I am the owner that sent you the letter. He then went to say things like, how can you change things midstream? I did attempt to speak and he would not let me. He kept stating that he is a very educated man and not some hillbilly. I tried to clarify the role of Century Management for the POA. Again, he kept stating that he is not a hillbilly. He also stated he has an attorney and is ready to file a lawsuit. After at least 3 times to try and speak to no avail, I terminated the call." And then she had a little PS. "Miss Hall, you saw all the emails. Once I proved that I did all correctly, it went silent." This is from Thomas Schmidt, March 13th, 2021. It was written to Century Management, and he's discussing the meeting we had on March 6th. There's a little section here. He says, "Several attempts have been made to discuss the issues regarding the damage to the roads with Mr. Armijo. However, during the meeting, his response to the discussion was dismissive and aggressive. He has demonstrated that he has no interest in resolving the issues in a diplomatic and professional manner with me or any other landowners who also have been negatively affected by the destruction of their property." So, I'd like a show of hands. Besides Thomas, how many people have PhDs here? Any PhDs here besides Thomas?
That's irrelevant, and that's again.
I guess
very
we're all
bad demeanor.
hillbillies.
Okay, wait a
Now
minute.
we are done.
You
because-
better go on down. I've
Now it's
got
enough.
a master's degree, so don't you be
I asked for
saying
a
that.
PhD.
You
Enough.
said
Your
PhD.
attitude. You guys are
Don't you-
professional.
You just put me. He just put me down.
You'll all get a chance to talk.
We were all professionals so far.
Please have the floor
What
first,
does that have
please.
to do with
Hey,
anything?
I got a little bit more I'd
but
like to
stir
say.
a pot? What does him having a PhD have to do with
I don't
any
know,
of
but
this?
he threw
You
that.
get,
Why
you're
would
not
you
yelling
ask
at
a
my wife.
question like
Calm
that?
your voice down right now.
Okay,
Hey,
go
you're
ahead.
Okay,
the one
right
yelling.
now.
No, let
Go
me,
ahead.
what
You're
is
the
that?
one yelling.
That has nothing to do with us voting today or changing the laws on this ranch.
Yes,
Its only thing to do is to stir the pot. That's
Well, I'll
it.
tell you what, we can't have a vote today because there's not a quorum, so we're not even opening the
The
meeting
point
today.
is, why would you start wrangle up some bullshit?
So there's not a call to order for the meeting?
No. No, there's not a meeting today, there's not a quorum, there's not a meeting today, I'm sorry. But, you guys, if you got something to say, this is the time to say it, I mean,
Okay,
you
I'm
know.
raising my hand.
I would like to say
No,
something.
not quite.
Go ahead.
Let him finish and you guys.
Well, he's had the floor for about 30 minutes now, so.
You know what?
I'm-
For 6 months.
Hey, hold your voice down.
For 6 months.
Be responsible.
You've had
No,
your
I'm gonna
First
do
He's yelling.
Amendment rights.
Oh,
Don't
You've
yell at
been
me.
threatening the board.
Don't yell
You've
at
been
calling me a
going on
fucking hillbilly. I don't
Facebook.
want to hear it.
You've been going
No,
on
I
the
haven't.
email.
No, I'm not
It's
even on
our turn
Facebook.
to get some information
No, but
out.
you can't just monopolize the floor.
No,
We
no,
don't. This isn't a
So I'm
meeting.
raising my hand.
And as soon as he's done, you
He's
can
been
speak.
done. He closed the book. And
No,
he,
I
He
didn't.
went through all
I've got
emails.
more to say that started back in January
Well,
with
so
the
listen,
road
he-
problem.
He's
He
the
went
vice
through.
president.
Hold on, let me talk. He went through the emails, and he went from one property owner to the next. Now, my statement here is, you're not allowing other people to have the floor and communicate.
I will.
Okay,
Don't you-
so he's finished with his emails. So
No, I'm
shit.
not.
Bullshit, you
I'm
are.
not.
You closed the book.
Rob, you just
Close
told
the
me-
book. I've
Listen,
got more
this
here.
is
I'm
not
trying to
about
keep the wind
emails.
from blowing everything
This is
away.
not about Facebook.
Hillbilly.
Hey,
They don't fly.
you know, not for nothing, grow up.
Thank you.
This bullshit about
We've
who
been
said
putting up
what,
with this.
right,
We've been
right.
putting up with this
Quiet
for
a
about
second. I
6
look
months
it.
now.
Quiet just a second. Calm down. I don't give a rat's ass who's got what kind of degree, whether you got out of high school. This bullshit about reading these things,
It's ridiculous.
It's
Why are
ridiculous.
they, why are they being
figure
written?
out how we
Why
get
are
our
they
I was
votes
being
25 years on a
and
board.
get them on.
Why are these things being written? It seems very
Oh,
childish
because
to
everybody's
me.
a child, my
It
friend.
seems very childish to me to be
Then move
threatening
along.
people with your
Ignore
lawyer.
Then how about obey the CC&Rs and we don't have to write anything?
I'm Rick. I'm at 55. Anybody want a
Nice to
beer or
meet you,
water?
Rick.
Come and see me.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, let me. Can I go ahead and read about the roads, Fred?
No, it's,
You know what, just
this
so
is going
everybody's
from one
aware,
subject to
not
another.
not all the board members are in agreement with this, okay?
You're jumping from one to
Yeah,
another.
I
We don't
think,
have
I
a.
think
think
it's
we
very out
should
of
He
leave
just wants
because
to
I'm
finish
done
what
with
he's
this
got to
bullshit.
say. and then
But he's
everybody
going to
else-
another topic.
No, I'm
Another
not.
agenda item.
This all has to do with
Ah,
threats
Jesus.
against the board.
There was no threat anywhere. There was.
Threaten me,
There was
Thomas.
You
fact.
threatened
Stop
Barbara
yelling
Jeanette.
at me. I'm not.
What? Have you already
No.
forgotten what you said?
Chuck was there. I didn't threaten her.
You threatened me
No,
4 times on your
no, I
property.
also didn't threaten you. I told you the legal ramifications of your doing. And
I
if
took it as a
you are the
threat.
biggest CCNR violator,
I took it as a threat.
yeah,
that you're
if
gonna
you
have
take
me
it as a
as
threat,
lawyer.
that's okay. But if you would obey by the CCNRs, nobody
am.
would have to even bring it up.
I am. You didn't have to
We're-
bring it up.
It's very
We're
simple.
going on.
say you will make
I'll
it a
try to
better
get through
community.
this
That's
as quick
not.
as I can, and then everybody can jump in. Everyone that bought property here, there was a disclosure about this being wilderness. You were supposed to read it and sign it if you were going to buy the property.
Attention on deck! Quiet!
Thank you.
They
They
had information about easements that we had to live by, the lack of utilities, electricity, no telephone, propane, water if you want to drill a well, on and on.
This is all
Sewage.
paperwork that every property owner has.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but you haven't read it. Because
No, I've
keeps
read it
coming up
multiple
to me.
times.
Well, what about the contract?
But why does it have to be read right now?
Okay,
It doesn't
one of the
matter. It doesn't.
things that we signed and agreed upon is it's under streets, roads, and drainage. Access by conventional vehicles is provided by graded dirt roads along existing permanent access easements. These roads, including drainage devices, if any, have been completed by the developer and are maintained by Sierra Mountain Ranch Property Association. These roads are not built to city/county or other standards. Since the roads are dirt, access may be temporarily interrupted during periods of precipitation due to muddy conditions. Developer advises that the interior roads are not and will not be constructed to any minimum construction standards. Any future road improvements, if desired, may be undertaken by the property owners and the Sierra Mountain Ranch Property Association as provided for in the conditions, covenants, and restrictions recorded on the property. The developer is not responsible for any further road construction, improvements, maintenance, or other associated costs. So I'm putting that out there before I start reading all these emails.
Jesus.
On January 5th, Thomas Schmidt, Facebook. I don't know if you have recognized it already. The roads have been done horrible. The contractor is a hack. It looks very bad here, and I heard from others that it is very bad in their area as well. This quality of work is not acceptable. My roads are way worse than before they even went over the easement in my case, and in some area, the road has been dramatically altered. I will not accept this and will initiate a grievance process. A lot of my trees have been destroyed as well.
True.
It's about the worst road work I have seen. I am not a construction expert, but I had an expert on site today, and this contractor doesn't know what he is doing on top of it. Looks very bad, and you don't need a degree in construction to figure that out. I'd like to know who he's referring to that he had on site today. If that was John Hetzel doing a little backstabbing and trying to get his old job back. This is from Miss Hall. It's to the board. It says, "Greetings, Sierra Mountain Ranch Board. In light of the current predicament regarding the road work and conditions," and this is January 19th, "I'm formally requesting a written account of the scope of work and a copy of the contract for Pinion Valley Excavating, Inc. I would also like to know if there was a RFP, request for proposal. Since our development has been surveyed and property pins placed, why now are the pins being bulldozed over? As we all know, there have been a lot of questions as to what is going on. The entire community is left guessing. Still, as there has been no more than a promise that Rick Pierce knows what he is doing, and that Fred thinks Rick is a good guy. This man is directly being confrontational with property owners and telling people to get off of their own property. If there were any research done on his work, you would have discovered that his work at Sierra Highlands is substandard and now that community has several issues with their roads. Myself and others have been watching and reading the posts and conversation on Facebook regarding the roads. Have also been checking Sentry to see if any formal information has been downloaded to the community files. Nothing has. We understand this is a new board. However, it is disheartening to find out that 2 board members acted independently and without the knowledge of other board members, nor the knowledge of the membership when making a huge mobility and financial decision that affects us all.
I have you on my phone.
There are some, like myself, who had planned to make trips out to our property to begin work before moving in this spring. We are unable to do so now due to the road conditions and the inability to bring our airstream. If the board was in need of assistance, guidance, or other service, all they had to do was ask. We, the membership, want board meetings. The guideline is at least 1 meeting a year, not only 1 a year. There has to be some professionalism and accountability to the roles you have volunteered to step into. I have looked at all of the applications, and most of you have served on boards before or worked in a professional capacity. So where did you not know how to hire a contractor the proper way? Why would you not research or ask what the proper procedure was if you didn't know? Saying that you've only been doing this for less than a year is unacceptable. I hope to get some answers, or maybe you can address the entire membership somehow. At the least, the requested documentation should be downloaded to the community files on Sentry for full transparency. Your secretary is responsible for that. In the meantime, I have talked with a surveyor who indicated that surveying just my lot is $1,000 just to replace the pins. I look forward to a reply and clarification promptly. Okay, this is from Rob Halls, Karen's husband, January 20th.
Bring it.
Not too many more. And I'm sorry about this.
Bring it. True.
To whom it may concern, I am writing this letter to Sierra Mountain Ranch POA Board of Directors and Sentry Management as a property owner of Sierra Mountain Ranch. The basis of this letter is to voice my concern regarding the recent road maintenance work being performed within Sierra Mountain Ranch development by Pinyon Valley Excavation, Rick Pierce. As you are now aware from Facebook page posts and supported pictures that there are concerns by property owners to the scope of work being done by this contractor. On the Facebook page, I personally voiced my concerns, and now I feel it necessary to directly convey the same concerns to this governing board and management agency. I come from a place that I had hoped the process would work itself out, and in fact, I was the one who made the suggestion to develop a maintenance committee to work with you, the POA board and contractor, to give direction to this project. Based on my previous experience and background of 25 years as a professional firefighter / paramedic and running programs, committees, and also participating in the fire union / management operations. The concern I have is based on primarily the activities of the Sierra Mountain Ranch POA board and the lack of following proper governing procedure and established bylaws outlined for Sierra Mountain Ranch. I understand that the Sierra Mountain Ranch POA board is newly formed and the board of directors are new to their elected positions. Yet that does not negate the responsibility to conduct Sierra Mountain Ranch business as outlined by the bylaws or Arizona State Law Title 33 ARS Section 33-1801, 33-1804. The following are a list of concerns related to the governing business of this POA board. Sierra Mountain Ranch POA Board of Directors did not follow proper procedure in conducting a special meeting in regard to road maintenance and submit as part of an agenda a project outline along with a scope of work. A request for proposal process was not submitted to identify third-party contractors that were capable of performing the designated scope of work for the project. Sierra Mountain Ranch POA board members met with contractor Rick Pierce and developed a contractual agreement of 5 years without a scope of work outline. POA board directors violated procedural law Title 33 ARS 33-1804 by not developing a quorum and unilaterally deciding to a contractual agreement with Pinyon Valley Excavating to perform Sierra Mountain Ranch road maintenance. As a result of not providing a scope of work order or direction from a maintenance committee, this third-party contractor begin work within Sierra Mountain Ranch. As you are now aware, Pinyon Valley excavation operators have altered existing roadways by scraping off hard-packed soil and creating sandy sections all over the development and widening the roads from original engineered roadways of 16 feet to now 32 to 56 feet widths. What has also occurred is damage to open space cattle easements along with environmental impact. In some parts of the development, Pinyon Valley operators have cut road sections so wide that they have encroached upon private property boundaries and even covered legal surveyed markers, now making property boundaries unidentifiable. I know of recently a property owner met with Pinyon Valley excavating owner Rick Pierce regarding some of their concerns, and a negative interaction took place. It should never occur that a third-party contractor has such an interaction with property owners. This is why a maintenance committee should be in place to resolve differences or provide mediation. I recently spoke with Crash, who agreed to join the committee, and he conveyed he spoke with Fred Armijo and Rick Pierce and asked to see the original contract and scope of work order, and to this date of my letter, he still has not received any such request. My suggestion to both him as well as this Sierra Mountain Ranch POA board is that a stop work order should be directed to Pinyon Valley operators until a POA board can call a special meeting and submit to community and property owners an opportunity to voice comments and concerns. My reason for conveying my comments and concerns is that as a professional first responder, I feel the roads in and around Sierra Mountain Ranch are now, in my professional opinion, a safety hazard, and as a result of the recent work, the ability to get emergency response vehicles into the ranch and to location of a sick or injured property owner is impacted by now loose soil and possible areas of flooding, which may impact the response and survivability and outcomes of owners. I would strongly suggest, based on safety concerns, that immediate action and remediation take place as soon as possible so that continued negative impact does not occur. So in response to Rob and Karen's emails, I just did a little short paragraph. This was January 25th. I said, Robert and Karen, we recognize the basis for your concerns. We are working with Mike and Crash to come up with a better contract with Pinyon Excavating. We're hoping to have an open meeting toward the end of February to discuss the road work. I spoke with Mike and asked him to get the road work by your property corrected ASAP. We hope that when the weather has a break, that they will get it done. I apologize for upsetting you and Karen and hope you give us the opportunity to correct the road work. This is from Fred, and it was addressed to Thomas Schmidt. It's March 22nd. It says, good morning, Mr. Schmidt. The response to your complaint is attached. Dear Mr. Schmidt, in response to your complaint that was forwarded to us by Century Management, we first wanted to inform you that an RFP process is not required. The hired contractor was approved by a majority of the board members, so is valid and binding. Even so, the POA board has attempted to work with you, sending the contractor and one of our property owners who works with him to speak with you directly to attempt to repair any alleged damage. Myself and another board member and the road committee chairman inspected the road near your property to try and determine the source of your complaint about the road. No damage was found. Any work that has been done was well within easements that are allowed. Since most property owners have expressed their appreciation for the improvement in the roads, your comment stating this has led to damage on all the roads at Sierra Mountain Ranch caused by the contractor will need to be further explained. You were allowed to express your concerns at the meeting, so Mr. Armijo was not dismissive of you. Also, as stated in the minutes, there is a plan of action for further improvements of the road. Since you continue to criticize the road in front of your property, you will need to set up a meeting with at least 2 board members and the road committee chairman to show the group specifically where the alleged damage is. Your response to this letter will need to be received within 15 days, or we will consider the issue resolved. Sincerely, Fred Armijo, President, David Paradise. This is from Thomas, March 25th. To whom it may concern, I received your response. My formal complaint served merely the purpose of having the damages occurred. My formal complaint served merely the purpose of having the damages occurred on record. I talked to John this morning, and he informed me that a new, more thoroughly contract was created and agreed on between the Sierra Mountain Ranch POA and road contractor. This contract holds the contractor accountable for damages done to properties and all other areas on the ranch. Unfortunately, it is legally not up to you to set a time frame when a case is closed. I will proceed with my announced actions till the damages have been corrected. There is no new appointment or meeting required to go over those damages again. These damages are recorded and with pictures documented and have been discussed multiple times. Your statement is untrue that the road committee stated there are no problems. I am in permanent contact with John and he states quite otherwise. On my lot alone, the contractor graded 4 feet over the easement. You are unfortunately misinformed where my land marker was located, which also has been removed and damaged by the road contractor. My land marker is across the street, and therefore my land beyond the easement has been damaged. In another case, Robert Hall lost 4 feet over the easement on 1,150 feet have been damaged. These problems can now be addressed due to a contract which allows the POA to hold the contractor accountable. It is true that certain areas of the ranch have been improved. Nevertheless, on the south side of the ranch, the road conditions have been perfect before the work with the new contractor started. Now we have aesthetically and functionally a deterioration. Nevertheless, I am glad to hear that the contract has been formalized and the outcome is satisfactory. This email does not change or reset the timeline in my formal complaint. I'm getting close to being done, so thank you for bearing with me. This is from John Crash Craig. He's our consultant on the roads. It's dated March 25th. Crash says, it seems like Thomas is still only hearing what he wants to hear. He was glad to hear that our negotiations went well yesterday and that Rick Pierce did agree to all of the proposed changes except for the self-help ones, which would have released his insurance company from covering his liability. He's also confident that with the new provisions, things will be improving. When it comes to the alleged damage during the last grading event, I told him that yes, I can see other places on the ranch where other encroachments have happened, but it's not really possible to restore the damage done since it takes decades for the vegetation to rebound, and putting equipment on it will only make it worse. He is still not going to give up on the replacement of his pin. I told him this afternoon that you guys aren't convinced he can prove that Pierce took out the pin, and he's going to need to provide real proof that it was there before the grading was done. He says he has pictures to prove it. So tomorrow I'll go over to his place and have him show me the photos, point out where he says he was encroached on, and clear examples of his complaints about the aesthetics. On a similar note, I'm writing up a record of negotiations to go along with the final modification and should be putting those out tomorrow. I'll include Miss Dumet in the email so she can post them onto the website. After that, I'll also make an announcement on Facebook page for general information. Signed, Crash. This is from Crash, also March 26th. Hey guys, when I went over to his place to see what evidence he has that Pierce took out the corner pin, Thomas told me that he had photos of it, which he will find and send to me, where the date of the photo should be recorded in the metadata attached to the file. But he also told me that there were 4 other witnesses to the fact that it was present before the grading and missing afterwards. Those other witnesses were his wife, Chuck, Rob Hall, and his neighbor on lot 167, some guy named Sam. I called Chuck, and he confirmed that he and the neighbor were together when Thomas went. They tried to use that pin to locate their other shared one on that southwest corner of Thomas's lot. I also confirmed with Rob that it was there initially. I still told him he needs to provide the photo to verify that it did in fact exist between the first time the roads were put in by Hetzel and the grading done by Pierce's crew. But it seems to be a pretty solid case based on the word of others who saw it. Apparently Sam was present when the grading occurred and noticed it missing right away. If you need that verified, I can try and contact him directly. Since this pin impacts on 4 property owners, lots 165, 166, 167, and 168, it really does need to be replaced. As to his complaint regarding the encroachment, using a tape, it does appear that the road may extend 33 feet onto his property, but without the pin in place, there is no way to confirm it. Also, it appeared to me that the way the road starts just east of his northeast pin and crossed over to the southwest of his southeast corner, it may very well be entirely in the easement. Even if it is shown to be an actual encroachment, he really doesn't expect to see the land restored, but is more making the point that the work shouldn't go outside the easement. The same applies to his complaints about aesthetics. It wasn't the berm as we expected on our drive that day. He is more upset that when he puts in his fence on the boundary of the easement, it won't look straight with the way the road winds around some trees. Apparently it was straighter before. He views it as detrimental to his property value, but I again told him that the way they have to cut the roads, trying to split the difference between 2 pins, that would never be the case. Also, the curves around the trees is actually a good thing considering how long it takes them to grow. He is still a little upset about the small damaged tree we saw and the way they just pushed them back onto the land as they cleared the route. But I again explained to him that's the way it's done all over the ranch and the other ones in the area as well. Again, the pin replacement is the only thing he won't let go, and I can see where he's coming from there. From our negotiation with Rick, I don't think he would object to paying the surveyor to replace it. This is from Crash Craig. This is the last one. It's a Facebook post. Fred and I had a very successful negotiation meeting with Mr. Pierce regarding my proposed modification to the base contract. He agreed with all the provisions as I discussed at the meeting. The only thing he objected to was a last-minute addition I inserted to allow us to perform some self-help type actions using the drag and homemade roller. Apparently that would result in giving his insurance company an opening to deny all of his liability. So I struck that entire new section out. However, he did say it would be okay if we used hand tools to drain some of the smaller puddles in places where that is easy to do. He agreed to replace any of the property pins that his crews had disturbed, but it isn't practical for him to try and restore the areas where he has encroached onto individual properties beyond the easements, because any attempt to do so would be more than likely create more damage than has been done already, and it will take decades for the vegetation to return to those areas anyway. If you feel your damage is such that something must be done, please contact either me or Mike to see what can be done in terms of mitigation. The main thing is that he will be much more conscious of the limits in any future work. Also, during the negotiations, we discussed the need for a second grading event on high traffic areas, County Road 7300 from the highway to the gate, Bonita in full length, Antelope Run to the convenience well, Pinto until it reaches Antelope Run near the well, and Appaloosa until it ends at Buckskin. So I incorporated that semi-annual effort into the description of routine work. I also asked him for a proposal to place a lift of road base on that really nasty section of County Road 7300 so it won't get so muddy in wet weather, and Fred asked him to provide a proposal for the installation of the 2 cattle guards that the rancher has offered. If we will cover the installation, those 2 items will be discussed at one of the future POA meetings. The modification is going out for signatures now and will include Tom Mans to settle the question of the legitimacy of the contract for those who express concern. So this has been long. I'm not going to reread about the roads in here not being to any standard, county or city. We all agreed to that. I'm going to say one more thing and then I'm going to shut up. I'm losing my voice. I live on lot 104. It's the Ponderosa. For me to get to my property, I got to take Bonita and then Antelope Run. And I think probably Bonita and Antelope Run are a couple of the worst roads in the subdivision. They're full of potholes and washboard. And the reason is, everybody that needs to go to the eastern part of the ranch has to use those. Everybody that needs to go to the convenience well from the south part of the ranch has to use those. A lot of people speeding, not just property owners, but people that work here, delivery people, they get tore up. I knew that when I bought my property. I have a 60-foot easement on my property because Antelope Run is state trust land. So basically, I gave up 60 feet by 1,400 feet of my property. I'm not complaining about that. I knew it when I bought the property. There are trees on either side of the road on the bank out of the roadway. Those used to be trees on my property. They were plowed out to make the road. I'm fine with that. I'm not threatening to sue anybody over that. I'm shutting up now.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
You guys, you know,
I'm in the
sorry,
same situation.
we gotta go through all
We
this.
all are.
Well,
I have a question now. I
yes,
have a
ma'am.
question. So rather than address people personally or call a meeting with that one person, me specifically, because you think I'm threatening Barbara, that none of those you read were threats. Those were accountability emails. That's all it was. Because it's obvious Century isn't doing what they're supposed to do. But rather than going through this whole projection you're doing here and trying to split our community, because I'm not quite sure what the goal was here today, except to split the community and have this like, what was this about?
Oh, for one, I agree with you, but people should be coming to each other and talk to each other as a community.
Well, and we came to you as the board.
No one came to me. No one, you guys did not come to me. All I've heard is from Thomas.
We came
that
to,
you guys
those were
have-
the letters he just read. We came to you as the board.
You came to the Facebook and posted on social media. Yes,
And I
sir.
didn't get it. Wait a minute.
It was
Hey,
on
Dave,
Facebook.
hang on.
Why
I didn't
are
get a
you-
chance. I didn't get a chance to say anything about how I felt when everybody was coming at me with all these contractual disagreements that weren't true. No one.
But you
no
had
one,
the ability to email us back and you didn't do it.
No, I'm talking about at the meetings. When people were coming to the meetings and yelling at me
That was
and
in
talking
March.
to
I'm
me.
talking about emails
No,
in
I've been
January.
dealing with this though for quite a while. Rob, go ahead. You've had your hand up.
Yeah, I've had my hand up. Like I said, I've been doing
Sorry.
this 25 years. 25 years in a fire union. I've never, ever experienced this kind of stuff. And I'm
haven't
telling
either.
you, I'm
Most-
talking about the dismissive. When somebody, you sure got a platform for sure. You spent a lot of time talking about emails. And you know what? I'll be frank with that. I'm kind of glad you went through a lot of those emails because you know what it is? It shows the lack of communication. It shows the lack of accountability by the board and by Century.
And
Those,
by the people
those
too.
emails are.
By
Hold
the
on, I'm not.
people that
I'm not
are coming
finished.
up here and
I'm not
and
finished.
saying that. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
See, it's called holding a platform. You guys get to do it, and I've always said that the Facebook that Facebook page is bullshit because any POA stuff for Sierra Mountain should not be on a Facebook page.
But it is.
But it's okay.
But it is.
Then it. Okay,
But
so
it is.
what I've always suggested
We've
is
asked for a website.
I've asked for a website and talked to Brett Norden about it.
I've never heard from Brett.
Well,
You know, people come up here and say all kinds of stuff.
so there
but
should
no
be
one
an
comes
official
through.
Facebook page in which there should be committee web links on. So if I want to know anything about the roads, I should be able to go and at least send an email to Crash or have a link to the committee. Same thing as I presented a safety committee out
We
here.
have a link to the committee.
So what I'm saying is these emails that you pointed out, it was about accountability and about communication. And because there wasn't any, so Barbara comes back and says, all I do is financials. All I do is financials. All I do is financials. But yet, so then therefore it falls back on the POA board. Falls back on you guys.
So if all she does is
Why
financials,
can't we all? I'm sorry.
why can't we all get along?
Exactly. Why can't we all
I
come
was
to the
gonna say,
meetings?
we've had 3 meetings, and they didn't get confrontational until the last 2.
You know,
What?
It
You have to
did.
ask yourself
You guys-
why.
you don't
You
have to
mentioned
be
one other one.
angry at everybody.
Can I say something, please,
You were only at
guys?
the last meeting.
Please. You know, I've
Well,
sat
it's
here,
disrespect.
and I'm an ex-carpenter, 25 years in the Carpenters Union. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I have sat here and let people browbeat me and tell me stuff that has not been true, haven't said a word back, been very polite to everybody, and what I can't understand is we're all community here together. Why can't we come to these meetings with constructive things to talk about? Why can't we come to these meetings with stuff that help out the whole community instead of fighting about a pin here or a pin there? Your guys' property, I have no idea about what's going on with your property. No, but Thomas does.
Well, I never complained about
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I would like to hear from you guys. I'd like to invite you guys over for dinner and let's just sit down and talk. You know, we're all a community.
My thing is, since I bought out here, we all bought. We all signed CC&Rs because my realtor wouldn't have sold me the property unless I signed the appropriate documents. So everyone that has a property owner here signed the appropriate documents, CC&Rs and the established bylaws. Okay, so we don't get to pick and choose what CC&Rs we follow and which one we don't.
Exactly right.
Right? You don't get to choose
And we've been
which
going
ones.
As a community,
They're for the community. And what I say about that is the board is elected by the community to represent us.
Exactly.
Okay, and that board, just like I did in the fire union, you have to follow laws and regulations. You have to.
And you know, there's sometimes that I fudge a little bit because I like to let the community talk, and I want everybody to have a say in what's going on. So sometimes I might go out of order from Robert's Rules of Order, but in that, in my own defense is, I want everybody to get a chance to have their peace. We're all out here living together. We're all out here in the middle of the freaking desert.
Right.
You know, I might be broke down someday, and all you that hate me, drive by me and flip me off. I don't want that.
Yeah, but this
You know?
just, I feel like we were attacked in
Well,
front of
I've been feeling-
everybody.
We've been attacked for the
feeling
last
like I've
6
been
months and
attacked
haven't
for-
said anything.
Okay.
But
People,
all we wanted was communication.
I just communicated what's been going on. People have been wondering.
I will say I appreciate that because it's worse than I thought. I left the meeting last time because everybody was fighting.
You probably
And it
didn't know
just
about-
kept going.
you probably didn't know
going on.
about these
So
emails.
we don't know about that.
Right.
Right.
So I did not perceive it as attack toward anybody.
If I was
perceived
attacking
it as
you,
an
I
update.
wouldn't have read the whole thing from start to finish. I would have picked and choose what helped me or helped the board. I didn't do that.
You know, and you know, Barbara is the wrong person to be
They're coming
going to.
from a place of
You guys need to go to the
cooperation
Attorney
instead of
General.
anger.
Or
It's
to,
the
to
ADRE.
someone,
It's ADRE.
and do it right. If you're gonna threaten me with a lawyer, you know what, guys? I ain't got nothing. I'm poor.
It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of it's a matter of you're an elected person, and you're on a governing board.
Yes, and I'm trying the best I can to make this community come together. I'm sorry when people come here and don't act like adults, and we can't all get along, and we can't talk to each other. I mean, that's just totally wrong. I don't care about all the rules or anything else. We should all be able, as a community, to get along out here and at least talk together. I'm not like you. You're not like me. We're all different. We all have difference of opinions. But I think this is a proper place to state your opinion, but not to browbeat someone just because they're on the board. I volunteered for this position. I don't want to do
He's
this.
volunteering for this
I know.
position.
Be careful what you volunteer for. Did you have something to say? I'm sorry. You
Yes,
had
I
your hand
have
up.
a two-part question. First of all, what standard of road conditions are you guys are trying to meet? I mean, was there a scope of work determined when you guys sent your project out for bid? Because I'm an inspector, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, when the first thing should have been done is you need a soil sample with an engineer, a soils engineer, because he's going to tell you what type of moisture content you're supposed to have in order to compact this to where it needs to be,
Before you
so
go
these
there-
conditions won't come up again.
Yeah, but before you go there,
Go ahead.
Our contract
Uh-huh.
is to have a road guy come out and blade the road one time a year.
That's not going to do it.
That's what we
That's what we
signed. That's in
signed. We
your
already all
contract.
signed that.
Right.
We all
That's
signed
in
it.
your
Right,
contract
right.
that you signed.
Right.
So I mean, we could do more to the roads. Like you're an inspector, We can go through all that, but it's gonna cost more money.
There's a
You
lot
know?
of people that don't want our assessment to go up.
But okay,
There's
in
a lot of
second,
people that can't
okay,
afford
cool.
for the POA.
You guys took care already. Second of all, the second issue. Last time it came, you said there was 190 ranchers that haven't paid their bill. That's money that's up in the cloud. What has Century did to?
Well, it's not Century. That's on the board, and we had to put names on people.
Wait. Before the board was, you know what I'm saying? Before the board was put together, this issue was there.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we should have dealt with it then.
Exactly. See, I mean, so let us know what can we do about that was in place, because if that's the case, I ain't got to pay mine. I got enough money to fight you guys.
Yeah.
But that's my point.
That's fine. I hope everybody don't pay it. You know what I mean? I don't want to pay
Come on
mine.
now, let's be honest here.
I live out there where you guys do.
Right. I know.
I'm out there.
You know what? I can grade my own road. I got the equipment to do it.
I know you do.
You know what I'm saying? Huh? But my whole point is, you know, but the whole point is, I don't want to have mine looking better than everybody else's. Like, is he getting money from somebody to do that? You know what I'm saying? No.
Yeah, we're
I don't
paying
want that.
a good price.
She's had her hand up.
I'm sorry, I didn't see.
So I have a question. 5
You
years
done?
ago when
I'm done.
When I bought, the road was graded twice a year in March and October, weather permitting. When did it go to once?
Look at your contract. It's always been one. The contract that you signed when you bought your property, it's in there. I don't care if it's how many times it was done. The contract that you signed says one time a year. The reason they were doing it more was because a developer was in here and they were selling property, and they wanted to sell the property. If you notice where they were doing the work,
So someone
it
paid
was
that.
over there where they were doing.
Yeah, the developer paid that.
It was making it so they could sell the property. Chuck, if you could be the door,
Thank you for correcting me.
I'm gonna apologize for losing my temper a while ago, but I want him to apologize to me for calling me a hillbilly. That's all.
I'll apologize if it makes you feel better. You're not a hillbilly.
Thank you. Okay, listen, I'm being calm here. If any owner elects to change or alter any roads running through owner's parcel, and if such owner is legally entitled to do so, such owner shall, at owner's expense, construct a road around the perimeter of the owner's parcel within the above prescribed perimeter. If the road's on his property, and that is on his, the same thing with that part of Thomas's, he can do it as his own expense with none of your approval, none of Pierce's approval. It's right here in the documents. So what I'm saying, my last point is, when is Pierce going to replace Thomas's pin?
We're waiting for pictures.
No, that's my last question.
Wait,
You know
what document are you talking about?
You guys, hang on.
The CC&Rs, right there,
Gotcha. Thank you.
and it says roadway alterations.
You know what? We signed a contract with the road guy now. It differs from that. So I don't know what you want to say about it.
Well, this I can change my property if I want to cut a road going there. I'm going to use an example.
Before you start complaining about
No, wait a minute.
backyard.
Wait a minute. I'm going to
Let
use
me finish.
I'm going to use an example.
Let me
I
finish.
had the floor. Let's not change this. An example. When you come in on Pinto, when you get to the end of it, you have to make a right. You go down there and make a left. Okay, that's where the road ended originally till they opened up that other section. Okay, right there, that property goes right through Stan's property, and then it goes down, makes a right, goes through his property. Legally, he can cut a road on his property down and then bring it back over and close that off. He can legally do that because those roads are not on any easement. They're totally on his property.
I got a question for you.
And that's what it says right here.
I got a question for you.
So I'm just telling you
I got a question
that,
for you. Can you stop for a minute?
no.
Why are you complaining about everybody else? What about yourself? What are your problems?
My
Don't come
my
over
problem
here
is for
with a
somebody
bunch
to
of
say,
I got the floor now.
no, I still had the floor.
You stop. Okay, I'll give it back to you.
You know what?
All you do is come and complain about other people's. If you
Because
have a
you're
problem
not
with
doing your
property,
fucking job.
Don't cuss at me.
Oh, don't tell me what to
I
do.
just did.
Don't tell me what
I
to do.
just did.
You hear what I said?
Act like an adult.
You go.
Act like an adult.
Time out.
Yes, sir.
Who approved this?
The first guy that came in, John Hensel, that was doing the road.
Right.
What happened was the developers were real cheap, so they bought the cheapest rock they could get.
Yeah, but Pierce told us that the road base is cost the same as that stuff. So.
I agree. But that's what the first guy brought in. Rich didn't bring that in.
You know what? They have something even better than that. It's called recrushed.
You know how many flat tires I had because of that crap?
You know, it's called recrush. Once the rain hits it, it turns back into concrete and it won't bubble up the road like this stuff is doing.
I agree, but again, we're going to have to go back to the POA.
Right.
Everybody has to donate more money, or we have to allocate more money. Well, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
We have to allocate more money to do the road. I mean, we can have paved roads in here, and
No.
street lights and benches if you want.
We don't want to do that, but here's the
everybody's
situation.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Everybody's going to have to pay more money for better improvements.
Okay.
If we want more improvements on the road, right now, we're getting what we paid for. So if we want more improvements on the road, we're going to have to get more money from somewhere.
Well, I mean, you can alter what you're doing to compensate what you need to get to. You know what I'm saying?
I'm doing my best, man. I just
I
hired
got
a new
you.
road
Okay.
guy.
Well, you know what?
This
Maybe
road
you
guy-
need to put a team together that can consult you guys on what needs to be done, and then you can, you know what I'm saying, alter what needs to be done.
Stand next to
Right? I just spoke with him.
So we are trying to do that.
Okay.
So we do have, and you're more than welcome with your knowledge.
Yes.
You're more than welcome to help us. I'll take all the help I can get, please. Please.
I'm certified by the state of California, so I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
that's good.
and I'm
But
still working.
You gotta realize too, California laws.
Yeah, I know, but still, but you know what? We have the most restrictive laws, though. See what I'm saying? Ours has a standard that's above everybody else's.
I came from California. I built hospitals, prisons, and schools. So.
No, DSA.
Go ahead, Rich.
The state of California.
Hey guys, this is to do with the finances, I think. So this might help you a little bit. Hey guys, listen up, please. He wants to talk about the finances. So this might clear up a little bit for people.
Excuse me, where are we at? Everybody's talking, I can't hear.
Hey guys, hold up.
We're not
please.
even having a meeting right
Hang
now.
on, hang on, guys. Let them talk.
Okay, we're just talking. We're gonna practice being adults.
Okay, so generally speaking, I hold my tongue a lot, and I have a lot of things to say, but some of it's irrelevant because we've gone so far down a certain road that coming back may be more difficult than we care to deal with, because it requires humility and it requires people to ask for forgiveness and treat others the way they desire to be treated. And when we start off, I understand the importance of the emails. I understand everything that went on because I received all the same emails. I've received phone calls, more phone calls than I care to receive from a lot of people, not just Thomas. I know like everybody likes to throw everything on Thomas, but there's other people that have issues with certain things.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
And
tell
so,
Thomas. You got one.
but there's a level of professionalism that has lacked on both sides of the aisle that has brought us to this point. And that's an email that Dave did not read. And I appreciate Dave very much. I consider him a friend. But I'm just stating that I was not in agreement with reading all that stuff because it does stir a pot that was probably better left for a different place, different time. Not that I disagree with the stuff that's been said, because there's a lot of stuff that's out of line. And so, for us to come back to a point of to being centered and to be able to work as a community, there's got to be humbleness and there has to be forgiveness. Without those two things, we'll never get there. Putting pride aside becomes very difficult, specifically maybe for us male, of the male gender. That being the case, there has to be an olive branch, so to speak, extended first by somebody. And I heard Fred make that effort. I appreciate it very much. As he said, I would like to have you over for dinner. That's an stable place of where we can live together as a community and help each other. Because like he said, and he and I spoke of this yesterday, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. We certainly don't want our neighbors driving by us and flipping their finger at us because we've had complaints about things that are really insignificant, like a road and a well. I'm reminded of I won't go into it. I'm reminded of a parable that talked about some very religious people walking by a man on a road who had been beaten by some thieves, and the religious people didn't stop to help him. And then an unexpected person stopped and not only helped him, but took him and put him in a hotel room and paid for his food and his housing. And I would hope that we could get to a point like that. That would be really nice if we could get to a point like that. But it would cost all of us quite a bit to reach there. Now, I know this is not a formal meeting. I'm the treasurer. There are some things I would like to speak to if it's okay. Is that all right? Well, the only thing I want to mention is that the work done by Century, the only payment that literally goes to them is $2,752. Let me verify that. $2,725. All a year. A year. All the rest of the $16,357 we use as a community. Century doesn't touch it. They manage it, but they don't touch it. And that's a clarification. I think that's really important so that we stop holding Century accountable for things that it really isn't supposed to do, and it probably shouldn't overextend itself into areas that don't pertain to them. So yeah, because it does. There's things that are written on the Century website under the bylaws that are different than some of the things that are on the Arizona website for how to handle a POA. Some of the differences are minor. I was talking with Scott. Could be a comma, could be just a simple word. Some of the things need to be probably deciphered by somebody with a legal mind, which I do not have. And that way we could understand what is exactly expected, because there are some differences. So some of the things like Chuck read and some of the response we get from Century, there are some differences in those things. And so we have to come together and figure out. We have to know what the true story is, if you will, to be able to handle those things. As far as the monies to do stuff, we do not need to raise anybody's assessment for the year. It can stay right where it's at. We have a lot of cash available to do things to the roads, but stuff needs to be approved. It needs to be handled in a correct and professional way. But there's plenty of finances to get the roads to a place that could be agreeable, and that is not paid. I will give you my position on the roads. If they were never touched again, as long as I lived here, I would be completely happy. I want to live so far off grid that it's impossible for other people to get to me. Now, I realize I'm one person in a community. There's other people here that feel differently, and that's okay. There's a middle road that we can all be happy with, pun intended, that we could get to a place where the roads are good for everybody, and we have the finances to do that with what we already charge. Yes, there's a lot of people that are in arrears. Some of them are paying little by little, and some are not. Those that are not have had liens put against them. But let me give you the truth about a lien. It means zero. That's right. Because until you sell your property, nothing can happen. So that means we're somewhat on an honor system, which means if I desire things to be at a standard that is acceptable, then it's behoove of me to pay my dues, because it helps the community. It helps us to maintain the well and keep the roads at a level that's good. But the point is that there is money to do these things. We just need to come to agreement what that looks like, and then how to go about it so that it achieves a level that the majority of us can be happy with. I realize You're going to have people maybe at either end that may not be happy, but that's not going to be possible all the time. I realize that. So coming to a majority on those things. As far as CC&Rs go, there are things that we can change. We need 60% of the vote of the community to change them. So if we don't like a particular thing, there are legal processes that we could take to change those things. So I agree 100% with Fred and with Karen and Rob. I have the pleasure of being friends to a lot of people that are on two different sides of the equation, and I can understand both sides. And I think there's a need to come to that center point, and communication certainly is the way to do it, but level-headed adult communication that achieves a goal that we're looking for. And so that's my 2 cents worth for today. I would love to get to know you people. My name is Richard Barcelona. I'm on lot 119, and it is a pleasure to serve, but it is difficult. There's a lot of stress involved with it, but it doesn't relieve me of my position to act in a certain manner. I've pastored a church for well over 22 years. I've heard lots and lots of things that are difficult to process, but none of it gives me the right to come back in anger or frustration, and therefore I have to use a lot of self-control. And I would hope we could get to that point and be able to manage the things in a way that brings a neighborly attitude and a real desire to participate in the functioning of this community. And so that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Carrie from number 135. I'm kind of newer here. Look forward to meet all of you. I just had a question because I've been keeping up with a few folks. I don't know a lot. There's been some break-ins on the ranch. I was wondering if discussion of a gate at the main entrance has been discussed.
Yes,
There's no perfect answer. I realize that, and it may help keep people who don't belong here off the roads. You know, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I like the privacy, but my alignments, I have my alignment done in my vehicle in January. It's already off again. So it's going to cost me $1,000 a year, right?
Welcome to the community.
Yes. So I appreciate it, but I was just wondering if that's still going to be considered, that everybody get a key or
We
something?
have discussed that, and the people bring it up that it's been crashed through. We've had one before. Some issues have come up with it may not be lawful to do it and keep it locked. And not only that, everybody that goes through the gates can have to open and close their gates.
Right.
Some people aren't happy with that. You
Oh, they
know,
could crash through it, I
so
guess.
there's you know that. There's things about the road. You know, and we're talking about money here. My pet peeve is the well. This rancher can turn us off anytime he wants to with water. If we make him mad, he can just turn that off. We have no water. Not only that, that well has been contaminated before. And when it was contaminated, we had no water for months out here. I would like to see us put a well in by the front gate, where everybody comes in and out of over there. We all got to go by the cattle guard over there. We should put our own well in there and charge a penny a gallon. That way, no one can complain about how much water everybody's getting. You get your own water. We can put one of those deals where it fills in your tank really quick. You know, that's just my suggestion. I second the motion. I'm sorry. This guy back here had the floor next.
Yes. I was third.
You want to say something?
Absolutely not. He has his hand.
Do we have the money in our finances for a well?
I think we do.
There is. There's money in the finances. Again, though, those things have to be approached in
If
a
someone
correct
has an
manner.
idea, like for the gate or the well, how does one go about presenting it to be discussed?
We put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
And then when we have our next meeting, we'll discuss it there.
And the person who presents the idea should have done all the homework and everything to make
Well,
the...
yeah, if you have an idea like that, you should come here with...
And then we just go to vote. The
And
board does it and it goes to vote?
Try to get, is a permit going to be required?
Okay.
What is it going to
logistics.
cost? Get some answers to the questions.
Well, then at least we know how to present And so that everybody can take a vote.
The first thing we do is put it on the agenda, and that would be to our secretary.
Okay.
So our secretary's gonna have a whole lot of work to do. Sir, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Aaron.
Aaron, okay.
Yes.
I'll try to remember Aaron.
Okay.
Gary had his hand up for a while.
Just a couple of quick points. When I came out here, I had asked the realtor, and I got the GPS coordinates. So I found where all the shared markers are on the four corners of my property. Not on the marker, but just a little bit inside, I set T-poles at each one.
Yeah.
And because when Hensel was doing the roads out here, he wiped out my southwest corner marker, and it took a while, but that was before the board had it, and they did send the surveyor back out because he was still doing his thing.
Yeah.
And they put the pin back, so I couldn't get any satisfaction out of him, so he just blew me off. But anyways, it got replaced, and I actually came within about 3 feet of it with my GPS because I already knew where the mark was. But I put that T-pole there, and then I put a piece of PVC with some hose clamps. That was for my convenience, and plus the neighbors, they'll know where they'll be able to find the museum. Because I couldn't find one because they had the wrong corner coordinate for me. The other thing is, before our board took over and they've done some road work, I watched. They sent out, Hensel and his crew came out, they did the roads. The next day, water, rain, it trashed it instantly. A week later, oh, let's go do it again. They did it again. Very next day again, the rain, it screwed it up. This is a constantly changing thing. You could spend millions of dollars, have concrete, then it gets washed away by water. You know, it's constantly changing. It's never been good. This big crap rock they put in initially, I don't know how many killed tires I had, brand new and otherwise.
I had to buy 10
a lot of us
tires.
did.
You know, almost 10 flight tires.
We moved out here knowing we were in the wilderness. You got to deal with it, and if not, you know, I see some city cars, and I've got one too. I can take it out when it's running on good days. On bad days, that thing will be a boat or stuck in the mud, you know. And I see people, you know, not knocking anybody that complains about the roads, but what happens to their vehicles. I've gone through it too for years now. Lived on dirt roads for 40 years. You choose to live like this, some of the consequences are going to happen, you know. And I came out here because I wanted to. Done with the city, I don't mind going and visiting, but I like coming home. And, you know, and the other thing is, things like Facebook, I'm a retired IT guy from college. Social media is poison. Communicate with your family, do some things, but to use it to complain and bash each other like some do, and I'm not saying everybody does, you know, it's not a good place to do that. There's no face-to-face. People say things that they wouldn't say maybe face-to-face, or they might. And
I doubt it.
I agree. You know, we do have to get along. Some of us are going to be out here for a long time. Others much longer. And it's always going to be a work in progress out here. It's never going to be done.
Also, I see another thing that the roads are missing out here. It needs to have a crown so the water can run off to each side.
We're working on that.
He didn't crown it that much.
No, well, see, this guy just came in,
right?
And he's working on what the first guy put in.
Gotcha. Right.
So this was our first pass.
Right. And not on that, you see on the side of the road here, as he's starting to build a berm, you can only cut this road so many times when the berm
you
starts
know what?
rising.
I'm not a road guy, but I've been in construction my whole life. That's the first thing I said. Why aren't they building these roads up instead of taking them down?
Exactly. See, so
you know, but that was on the previous guy. We need to kind of give this guy a chance to see, you know, and if you would volunteer or if you would help.
I'll help with
I'm sure the whole community would appreciate. Well,
okay, Cash.
I'm sorry, but
Crash.
most of us would appreciate it. You know, I know I would appreciate it. Rob, I'm sorry, dude. You know, I really wish this would go a lot better than what it is. It's my fault because, you know, I haven't been able to bring everybody together. But I have tried. You know, I've gone to people's houses and talked to them personally just to try and squash the stuff, you know. And it's like I just keep getting mud thrown on my face the whole time I'm there. There's no respect. There's no compassion. There's nothing. I mean, you know, we're all adults. My grandma used to tell me all the time, treat people how you want to be treated. You know? And I've tried to do that. But when you keep getting bashed in the face, pretty soon you stand up. At least me, I'm going to stand up pretty soon and just not take it no more. You know what I mean? And a person, and that's pretty much where I'm at. That's why I'm kind of having a bad attitude today, or whatever you want to say. You know.
It comes across as being adversarial.
Well, I'm not trying to.
So when the board comes off as being dismissive and adversarial, then it doesn't go very professional.
But when you start judging people like that without even giving them a chance to find out who they are, that's why I invited you guys for dinner. I would really love for you guys to sit down with me and just get to know me before everybody starts bashing me. And then if you guys hate me, bash me all you want.
So actually, I wasn't the one bashing you. And in fact,
no, but see, your name keeps getting brought up by a certain person.
Irregardless of how
I would rather
hold
be
on. I'm a big boy, and I'm capable of pulling my pants up, and I guess what, I can tie my own shoes, and I speak for myself.
Thank you.
And I speak for myself from a very professional background. Very professional. 25 years of being a firefighter paramedic. So one of my things is I moved out here for a reason. I appreciate being remote. I grew up in the country. I appreciate not having city life. I worked 25 years in the city, in a big municipal city.
That's why I'm out here.
So hold on. The whole thing about this is you guys have to it's a give and a take, because who has medical problems out here? Okay, for being a paramedic for 32 years, you're going to need emergency first responders to get in here and take care of you or a loved one in the future.
But see, that's where you got to realize where you're moving into too.
Oh, I know exactly where, but I'm talking about a professional person.
I was told by our realtor that they don't come in.
They're not going to come in.
You do gotta make it to the road.
That is
Right, well,
okay.
I'm just saying, I knew that.
If that's your standard of care, you're going to die, because that's not EMS professionals. You wait for a paramedic to arrive to save your life. You don't go out. You don't go search for the medical people.
I'm not disputing it.
So I'm just telling you, as
I'm
a
just
person,
saying that
these roads have to be of a standard so that first responder vehicles can get in.
But you know what? As far as I see it with the road, from what I'm learning, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I just think.
What I'm learning about the road and how we're doing it, it's going to take a long time for these roads to come up to standard.
I get it.
You know, so either we have to have changes where the guys coming in more often to make the road up to the standards that we want it. But again, that's going to cost money, and we all need to agree with that. We all need to talk about that. And she's been having her head up.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
There's a couple things. I don't have a PhD and I don't whatever. I love it out here because of the remoteness. I have medical issues, yes. I moved out here knowing I have medical issues. So if my medical issues start to get to a point where I think I need help, I need to take my hiney out of here. Okay. Second thing, there are so many diverse people with diverse backgrounds that our community could be awesome. If we can all use everybody's diversity, put all the ideas together and make a great idea. I vote for that. So that's my thing. I just think that all of us need to. I agree with him with humility, because humility is the only way. And if you step on somebody's toes, go and apologize. Good Lord, we're all big enough to pull up our britches and do it.
Hey, I'll be the first one to apologize for what I've done but I think a lot of people judge me because of the way I look.
I think you feel judged because you are being attacked, because you're new, and we all need to realize you're new. But we also, we agree that there needs to be some kind of standard and accountability. I'm with her with accountability. It needs to happen, but it has to be set into place.
Not conflict.
There. Oh, thank you, Mal. You said it beautifully.
You're welcome. I interrupted you.
That is fine. I still love you anyway.
Fred, have you reached out? I mean, have you been across 191 and see how their roads are and how they're coping with that? And
I have. As a matter of fact, over there on Witchwells, you can go over there on that road, and you can do 50 miles an hour down that road. It's got a crown when it rains, the water pours off it. But I found out that the Indians are taking care of that road and the community. So they threw a lot of money at that road to get it in that condition.
And don't they also have landlocked people?
And not only that, I've been to other communities to see how they're running their POAs.
Yes.
Just to kind of see what's going on and stuff. Just so I'm not totally in the blind.
Gotcha.
You You know, so I have been doing a little bit of homework to try and help out. You know, I know I'm just one person. I'm not perfect.
Got you.
This property is not what's across the street though.
Well, no, no.
This property is ancient sand dunes that are gonna keep moving every time it rains. So we can pour a ton of money into the roads and keep pouring a ton of money into
Well,
the
no,
roads.
no, no. My whole
That's
point
why
is,
we moved here.
well, no.
We
Right
don't want
now,
paved roads.
there's like 3 or 4 spots you would get stuck today in.
Oh, absolutely.
Over there where we're at, it's pretty bad over there, and they do need to.
Yeah, we got a couple spots that are bad. But
No, I mean, like he's saying.
Right.
You can't go through without getting stuck.
Exactly.
That's behind us. This is a time thing, you know. It's going to take time and money to throw on it to be able to take care of it, to get it to where. And that's my deal with the roads. I told the guy, I got a 2-wheel drive, and I want to be able to get in and out of here without getting stuck. That's all I care about the roads. That's all I know about the roads. Take care of it.
And you know what?
Somebody like crashes who's got
Well,
the
him
experience,
too.
and then you.
It's over, you know, different periods of the years when these situations occur.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Well, Dave, I need you to hang on for a minute. We got something to take care of. And Richard. Thank you. Thank you.
Robert.